to have the opportunity to do this. So
I know. I am so happy about this. This is great.
well, hi, I'm Dr. Joy Burdette. And I met your teacher, Mrs. Curry, when I was a student at Cumberland College, which is now the University of the Cumberlands. And while I was there, I worked to get my Bachelor's of Music Education degree. And from there, I graduated and I did teach public school for a few years at an elementary school and a middle school and a high school, all in one, but mostly elementary school. After I taught for a couple of years music classes, and beginning band classes. Then I went back to school and I got my master's of vocal performance at the University of Louisville. And then from there, I went on to get my doctorate in vocal pedagogy and voice performance at the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. And now I teach at the college level. So I'm a teacher and I teach students, and I teach students how to sing and how to use their voices. And I also teach them how to teach other kids and other singers how to use their voices. And I love it.
Why did you become a singer?
So I became a singer because, when I was probably in elementary school, I really enjoyed singing. I had a great music teacher. And so I did a lot of singing at school. And then I also did a lot of singing at church. And I also played the piano. And I later on, when I got to be able to go to middle school and high school, I played the French horn. And I thought all along, I want to do something with music. I really loved music. But it wasn't until I was in high school, a senior in high school, that I thought maybe singing is it for me. So I started taking voice lessons for the very first time in order to get ready for my college auditions. And so really, the first time I ever sang in a choir was when I was a freshman in college. And from there, I just really fell in love with singing. I loved all of music and all of the arts, but singing seemed to be the thing that really spoke to me the most. And I think one of the reasons is because when we sing, we use words, and words have the ability to communicate well to people. And it just seemed to be for me that I was able to change lives and touch people's hearts through my words of singing.
What's an opera?
Well, that's a really good question. An opera is not for everyone. And I have to say, when I first started singing, I thought, opera. And I remember really distinctly with my voice teacher, Dr. Hostler, he really wanted me to be this like, singer. And I was just like, oh, I don't think I really like that so much. But it was something that I got used to and something that I was kind of pretty good at. And so I decided to keep developing that. And as I went on through school, I had the opportunities to sing in some operas that our schools did. And then a couple of professional companies too, Kentucky Opera in Louisville. When I was a student there, I had the opportunity to sing several seasons with them as a chorister, because in opera you have your main singers and then you have supporting singers, which are the chorus members sometimes. And so I really got really into opera then, because I got to really be on the stage with these divas and divos, the best of the best, and to really observe them. So Kentucky Opera. And then later, a couple years later, I auditioned for Cincinnati Opera, which is an even bigger opera company in Cincinnati, Ohio. And so almost every summer for the last, I want to say 25 years, they have a summer season, only a summer season. I've sung with Cincinnati Opera in their chorus. And again, it's a great opportunity to be around the professional, like highly paid singers. But I also receive a paycheck every week too, as a chorus member, because they're a union house, an AGMA house, and so they pay their singers. And so I teach during the school year, and then I sing opera every summer, and I love it. It's the best of both worlds.
Now, I had heard that you had actually sung overseas as well. Is that true?
That is true. Yes. Wow, you have really done your research,
I
Mrs.
have.
Curry.
I have. But you are an international opera singer.
Well, I have sung across the seas. When I was in graduate school, I had the opportunity to go to Lucca, Italy for the summer. Um, and I was in an opera program there. And I had the chance to sing on this beautiful opera stage in Lucca, this beautiful little Italian town. Um, and I sang this. It was really a big privilege to sing the closing concert, and I sang this piece by the composer Catalan, and it was from the opera O Wali Wali, and it's called E ben Nandro Lontana. And that composer was born in that city. And so all the Italian people, they love that composer and they love that aria. So after I finished the whole program was finished with that aria. And it was amazing. I felt like a star because from all the balconies, all of these people that lived there, they threw roses out on the stage and acted like I was just like, oh, so amazing. I felt like a true diva that night. It was really special, but it was because that aria and that composer was so special to them, and so they just really appreciated it. So yes, I've been in Italy, and I've had the opportunity also to teach in Salzburg, Austria, for a couple of summers also. So I do a little singing there, but mostly teaching. But Italy, that was a special experience.
What's a diva?
Well, everyone, a diva is not necessarily a positive word, you know? A diva can be used to describe opera singers who are prima donnas or the best of their craft, the top level of their skills. So say, I'm a soprano. Say that I'm in a room full of other sopranos. Probably there's a one or two divas in the room. So a diva in a negative way is a singer who feels like they are above all the rest, and maybe they are. Maybe their skill set and their talent is really high, so they're considered a diva or the best in their craft. But you don't really want anybody to ever call you a diva, because that means you're kind of snobby and stuck up and kind of like you think you're better than everybody else. And we're not better than anybody else. We're just who we are, right? We're just going to compare ourselves to ourselves, and we're going to be the best that we can be. But sometimes jokingly in the opera world, we'll say, oh, here comes that diva. And sometimes we say it in a kind way, like, oh, she is so good. I admire her so much. She's such a diva. Oh, perfect in every way. But then sometimes it's like, look at that diva. Oh, anyway. So it could be used either way, but just don't use it. But let me tell you a little bit about the Magic Flute. It is one of Mozart's most exciting operas. All of the music of Mozart's operas are just lovely. I mean, and so memorable and so good. I mean, I love Mozart too, and I love singing Mozart. But his Magic Flute, or Die Zauberflöte, as it is in German, it's written in German, is a really enchanting, fun little opera. And let me tell you why it's just a little bit different from some of his other grand operas. It's because it's a Singspiel, which means it has singing and speaking in it, which is a little bit different from the operas that were being written at the time of Mozart. So this had singing and speaking. So kind of, if you think about our modern day musical, you go to see a musical on Broadway, it's very similar to that. And this Magic Flute Singspiel was really written for the people, for the common man, for the everyday person, because opera, as it is even now, is an expensive art form to attend. And a lot of the common people, just the everyday workers, like you and me, we couldn't have afforded to go. And it was kind of a little like the themes of other operas were kind of like, I don't really understand that. I can't really relate because I don't live in a big palace with lots of jewels and riches around. But the Magic Flute was written for just everyday kind of people. And so it deals a lot with dragons and kind of fantasy and just things that would help us to distract our minds from the crazy world in which we live in. We could just go to the opera house, watch the magic flute, and just like, oh, have some fun and some laughs, and then go back to our real world. It was just a nice distraction. Okay, so the opera opens with Tamino, and he's like, oh, there's a dragon attacking him, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna die. But then all of a sudden he wakes up and the dragon has been slayed, and he's like, oh my goodness, I've been saved. And then all of a sudden Papageno comes onto the scene, and he's like, oh, did you kill this dragon? And Papageno says, well, yes, I did. I did kill that dragon. But then all of a sudden, these three women come in and they say, no, Papageno, you did not. It was us. We slayed the dragon and we saved Tamino. And then a bunch of crazy things happen. They send Tamino on this mission to save Pamina, which is the evil queen's daughter. And they send Papageno with him, and they say, okay, you guys, you're on this mission. You've got to go save her. Tamino, here is a magic flute for you to blow on if you need any trouble. And Papageno, we'll give you some magic bells. If you have any trouble, you just ring or you whistle, and we'll be right there to help you. Well, they go through all of these things, and they realize that the queen of the night, Pamina's mother, really is not good. And so she has been rescued by her father and taken out of that situation to save her. And it just gets all crazy. The queen of the night sings this really angry song. She gets mad. But in the very end, Tamino gets to be with Pamina. He rescues her, and he goes through all of these trials and tests, and he finally gets to be with her at the end. But along the way, Papageno, the bird catcher, he also meets the love of his life, Papagena. And because he's been so helpful to Tamino all of that time, he also finds the love of his life at the end, and everybody is happy. Yeah, so there's a lot that happens in the middle there too, but it ends up being very happy.
And the Papageno song is it's a fun song. Yeah.
It is. All those pa, when they're first meeting each other. It is a classic duet, really fun. And if ever later on you guys have the opportunity to sing that, if somebody says, hey, would you ever work on that Papageno duet? You should absolutely do it. It's a fun piece to sing and a fun piece to act out. Yeah, it's great and classic. She sings this aria to him, and she's like, oh no, I've met the love of my life, and now he can't speak to me. Maybe he doesn't love me. And so she's lamenting about that. So here it is. He feels es ist verschwunden, ewig hin, mein ganzes Glück, ewig hin, that's about half of that aria. She's just like, do you not love me? But of course he does. And she finds out later, like, oh, I was lamenting for nothing. He really does love me.
I know.
But
And
you know how we all are.
you can tell it has really a sad tone to it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
even with the, oh, 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 oh,
Yeah.
it sounds like she's crying all the way through it. Yes. And Mozart's that way. He writes really descriptively to
Mhm.
really match the text so that we can get it. Yeah, so we can get the meaning. You know, it is a hard question, but I have to say the Queen of the Night. And that, I mean, she is, although she is evil and she is mean and she is not very nice, her music is amazing. Her music is so fiery. It's like she sings all these fireworks and she sings these super high notes and fast and like,
Which
it's
only
just
you
amazing.
would sing, of course, but
No, really, I cannot. She's labeled as a coloratura soprano, and so she's really high and really light and can move her voice really quick. I am called a dramatic soprano, which means that I have some high notes, but I'm a little more powerful and loud and can sing over a full orchestra. And so I do have some moving notes, but not nearly as high as the Queen of the Night. Oh, but she's my favorite, even though she's mean. I don't really like mean people, but I like her.
and her costumes in different productions are pretty fantastic too.
Yes, she comes out there with this big cape and oh, just takes it all in. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Joy, thank you so much. Dr. Burdette.
Oh, yes.
But, oh my goodness. But you will always be joy to me.
Oh. Well, I tell you, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity, you know, and if we can continue even in this wild time of our that we find ourselves in this life, we can continue cultivating music and growing the love of music for our students and for everybody around us, then we're going to be making the world a better place. So